Hi, it's Nikki. I just wanted to show you this recipe book. The lady I made the previous one for, she wanted another one now, but she wanted more of a girly, frilly one. So I haven't done this for a long time, where you put all your lace and your ribbons, but it's a good way to use up all your scraps and bits and pieces. And I've tried to keep with this, for the cover, this sort of peach, black and cream and a bit of green theme. This is just a couple of spellbinder dies and some epoxy letters, and then I had a bit of a mark on this paper which I was really cross about, so I've had to put this bloom on, which I wouldn't have really put on a cookery book, but it covered the front. I didn't have another piece of this paper, which came from the Grace Taylor collection, and this was the only thing I could think of to sort of hide it. I was a bit cross with myself. And then I've got a bit of velvet ribbon, a bit of black lace, and just a piece of scalloped ribbon there to go on the front. I think it looks quite nice. Sure she'll like it. Covered the inside, it's an old book cover, and I put it together with my cinch. So I made a big pocket here and put some a couple of recipe cards in there, and put tabs on the top so they're easy to come out. Most of the things in here, I think, are from this Paper Mania paper. I was gifted by somebody in America, I think it was, and this is the corner of the graphic 45 one. This is a bit from a big box of recipe cards I got with different pictures on, so I cut that out and then put this picture of a jar on there. And then this is from a magazine about chicken noodle soup. And then on the next page, there was one for split pea and ham soup. These were cut out of I think it was Amy Tangerine sheet that was all big jars, so I've cut some of them out. And these came from a sheet of October Afternoon paper from the Farm on the Farm collection, and they're all so cute, so I've cut them out and used them throughout this journal. Then I've got some more recipe pages here. This is one of those big recipe cards. You can see I've just cut along there on the previous one. Here I've made a pocket, and this says from the kitchen of, and in here I've got like a diner receipt which I've backed on some card, and then here's another spot to write a recipe. This one here, obviously a jar of tomatoes, and this one a jar of beans. This was another sheet from that October Afternoon range, and so I cut out the ones that matched the images I'd got. More recipe pages. This was actually from this might have been from a recipe journal actually, not a magazine. Just another bit of the cutouts there. This was a very old piece of paper, but it's got like magic mushrooms on, if you like, but I thought that was quite pretty, and I put them in and made a big pocket with the page with a recipe card in there. And also, obviously, you can use these to put in recipes like the ones you get on cards and things from magazines or the Sunday papers sometimes, or bits and pieces. Now that's from a magazine, all about here different items in your cupboard, and this is like the seasonal food chart. And here I've made a sort of with this recipe card, made a pocket with it, and inside here I've got a little index card, and there's another one of those Amy Tangerine jars, and I've backed that on some index card as well. Like this is from the Paper Mania Happy Days range. I really like that, so made a big tuck with that, with a Tilda cup and saucer. And then in here I've got some index card and a recipe card. Just some asparagus on there. Just a piece of lined paper there, which I've made a tab out of the leftover bit of the front cover. This was a very old 50s recipe book, which has got some really unusual images in it, and then I've put here about cooking fish, different fishes, best ways to cook them, and then on the back here some recipes as well, like deviled herrings and cod roe, things like that. This was a recipe from the Guinness plant in Dublin, and how to have Irish smoked salmon on Guinness bread. So put that in. Another recipe card, and on the back there I've made another pocket with a little recipe card in. Some more of those October afternoon pieces. This is from a recipe card set, again from the 50s, 60s, for a Robert Carrier cookery card, so I put that in. That's a nice picture, and on the inside is all about store cupboard oils and vinegars and what to do with them, different shapes pastas. Another recipe with a recipe divider, that's what I'm trying to think of, with a tab on, which I thought looked quite nice. This was an advert in a cookery magazine, and so I turned it, I lined it and then turned it into an envelope with an index card in, and that's a little bit of die cuts with a view paper that was from there. Is it Nana's Kitchen? This is all about different cooking terms, whisking, emulsifying, kneading, and then there's different ways of cooking things. It's a recipe book from a different journal, a recipe page from a different journal, some note paper, and I've just used the last scraps of the pages from the front cover. This was, this is another die cuts paper as well, that I've left like that so you could stick recipes in. This is from another cookery book from the 50s, and it's got a recipe for orange cake. More pages, recipe for bread and butter pudding. This was some packaging a lady at work gave me, which I thought was so bright and colourful and sort of went with the theme, and I've backed that with an index card. This was a set from, I think it might have been off the telly, somebody gave me, and I've left it open, a big pocket. This is some paper I got in a swap, and I've made an envelope with it and put in a couple of recipe cards as well. I think it was from a French company, to be honest. Another page there from, I think that's die cuts with a view as well. Some more of this paper with the cupcakes on, and again made a big pocket and a couple of recipe cards in there, the full size ones, and I've just cut out a couple of little images for it. More of that paper, and here's to put a recipe here for Mrs. Hall's milk chocolate cupcakes, and recipe cards to go in there. Another one of those big recipe cards that you've got lots of space on. This one I really loved, with the cups and saucers and teapots, and again I just frilly cut the edge there, and from the packaging I used this to make a little tab. That was a card somebody sent me, and on here I've just made just a note card, which is out of some, I don't know how well you can see that, embossed paper somebody sent me in a swap, with cherries on. So I've put that in there. More recipe cards, and I've cut some of the cupcakes out of that paper, and just left that blank on that side to stick recipes on or to write on. It's another cupcake piece of paper. And here's the back. I've made another little pocket here, as that paper with the mushrooms on, and just an index card there that I've put a title bit out from the October afternoon set, just to you could, what recipe it is or where it's from. So that's going off to its new owner. Please feel free to leave any comments. Thank you.